What's up, everybody? This is the Tied to the Land podcast, where we believe that everybody is tied to the land in some way, shape, or form. On this podcast, we'll explore the intimate connection that people feel with the land beneath their feet, while telling the stories of folks whose lives have been impacted by their roots to the rural lifestyle. This podcast is brought to you by Arrowhead Land Company, where their mission is to create, inspire, or advance a connection to the land in every person throughout the world. What's going on, everybody? My name's Andrew Schultz. This is the Tied to the Land podcast, and I've got a man with me today who is very near and dear to my heart. The man, the myth, the legend, none other than TG. Tyler Griffith, what's going on, brother?
Oh, not much. It's a little bit weird being on this side of the lights. Usually I'm back producing the podcast, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun conversation today.
Yeah, so TG's usually, like he said, behind the camera. It's making all the magic, all the podcasts we've done so far. He's been the guy to make them happen. So with the help of Ashley, of course, since she's come on board. But, man, I've been thinking of a good reason to get you on here for a long time, and I think we finally got one.
Yep.
Not that the rest of your life isn't interesting, because it really, really is. We won't talk about everything else in your life unless you want to. But, man, what's it like sitting on this side? You've been a little nervous leading up to this, right?
Yeah, I was a little nervous, but then I realized it's not live. It's not a live podcast, so
So the haters can't be throwing shade at you in the comments?
Yep, and then I realized that I'm also going to be editing the podcast, so if I mess up too bad, I can just cut it out myself. So
yeah, that is a nice perk of doing that job. So if you look silly, you just go ahead and cut that out. I'll be like, dude, what happened to that?
No, I'm going to look super well-spoken on the final version, and we won't release the bloopers.
So are you recovered from the Kansas City loss on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I don't like talking about it. The Chiefs stink this year, and still fun to watch. Still been a great couple years. When I started watching them, they sucked. They barely won any games. So to witness 2 Super Bowls is pretty great.
Yeah. So I heard Taylor Swift has a new song on her album about Travis Kelce. Do you feel like that might have played into, the outcome of the football game?
It could have. Travis is definitely distracted. I did know he was going to score a touchdown in that Monday night game, though, because, imagine having that song written about you and then strapping up and going out to play football. You got to feel like the man. You got to feel on top of the world.
Yeah.
So I knew he was going to get in the end zone and find a way to score.
He found a way to score, I would say.
On and off the field.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, anyways, we can talk about Taylor Swift's album later. I don't know if Taylor Swift is tied to the land or not. I don't know if Travis Kelce is tied to the land or not either. So we'll forego talking about them for now until we have proof that says otherwise. So recently, you've gotten into bow hunting.
Yep.
And that's really what I want to get into today. I feel like, and Ashley and I talked about this too, a lot of podcasts, it's the experts, it's the well-known people, it's, people who have killed big giant deer. And I feel like there's not enough content out there for people who are just getting started, people who are just getting into it, the challenges you face, the knowledge that you learn as you go when you're getting started, the struggles, the hardships, your first legit weekend of bow hunting. I'd say it sounds like you faced plenty of them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I want to get into today. But first, tell everybody, what was your upbringing like? Were you in the outdoors? Did you hunt when you were younger? What kind of opened the door for you to get into hunting?
Yep. So I grew up in central Illinois, Hayworth, where we're both from.
Go Hornets.
Yep. And did grow up in the outdoors. We used to take yearly camping / fishing trips up into northern Minnesota. Me, my dad, every now and then my sister and mom would tag along. But we'd go fish the boundary waters up there. Really loved just getting off grid, pitching a tent and fishing for the weekend or the week, however long we went. So I did that when I was younger, and then around 12 or 13, I asked my dad, hey, would you want to go hunting? You want to pick up hunting? He never really hunted growing up, so me and him kind of got into it at the same time, and weren't super serious about it. We just kind of went out during gun season and shot whatever walked in front of us. So,
So what sparked that initial thought of like prompting your dad to get into hunting, or talking to him about trying hunting? Were you looking over the fence at somebody else who was already doing it? Did it have to do with your prior fishing experiences and camping experiences, or like why hunting?
yeah, I don't. It was just a way to get outside. Fishing during the summer. I wanted something to do during the fall, so just picked up hunting. And grandparents live out in eastern Illinois, so they have farmland up there, and I knew we could have a spot to hunt there. So, we just kind of got into it. Took our hunter safety course. Bought slug shotguns and went out there and tried it out. So it was a great way for me and my dad to spend time together too. And it was really cool getting into it at the same time as him, because we just kind of learned from each other. It's not like he passed down a bunch of knowledge to me. We just kind of both learned at the same time. So
Yeah. I remember like I think I was probably 12 or 13 or so myself when I picked up the shotgun and shot my first slug out of it. And for those of you listening who aren't familiar with hunting in Illinois, for the longest time during the gun seasons, you weren't allowed to use any rifles. It was either a slug gun, a shotgun, or a muzzleloader. And so like when you're 12 years old and like 140 pounds is probably what I was when I was that age, that thing will blow you back a little bit. Like, I'll never forget that. Just being like, okay, oh gosh.
yeah. The first year I ever shot was actually up in Minnesota. So I mentioned that we used to go up there to fish in their boundary waters. My dad's brother, my uncle, lives up in northern Minnesota, and the first year I ever shot was up there. He took us out to a couple spots that he knew, and I actually did shoot it with a rifle that time. I had a 270, which I still have today. The deer, I was in a clear cut, and it just came running in pretty much on a line, sprinting in, and I had the doe and heat scent down on a tree, so it came running in, and I thought it was a doe when I first shot it, and we went to go recover it, and it was a spike, maybe 3-inch spike. So that was my first deer I ever shot, and then came back to Illinois and shot a couple does down there. So
yeah, that's awesome. You still have the 270, and actually, first I want to say, do you remember what kind of like estrus you were using? Like buck balm was real popular at that time. Like, did you come out and spray?
I don't remember it. It was like one of those scents where you like dip the cotton.
Nice.
Cotton ball into it and just kind of hang it up on a tree. If I saw a picture of the bottle, I could point it out, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, no doubt. You still got the 270, and you took a stab at an Oklahoma gun hunt last year. What was that like?
Yeah, so that actually kind of prompted me to get into bow hunting as well, that hunt. But yeah, last year I went out with Owen Bellis. He took me out to a place where he shot a pretty nice monster buck, honestly, right off the highway. And
he didn't literally shoot him from the highway.
Yes.
The piece of land was located in close proximity to the highway.
Which, not knowing a ton about hunting, you might think like, do deer really hang out that close to the highway? And yeah, there was a bunch of them out there. So me and Owen went out, and I think we went out kind of early in the day and just kind of sat and watched and waited. Or we went out 2 days, sorry. So the first day we didn't see anything until we walked back to the truck when it was already dark, and then there was like 12 deer just hanging out by the truck. So the next day we went out, we said, okay, when it gets close to sunset, they're obviously crossing over here by where the truck is, so we'll hike back and try to shoot one over there. So the next day comes, sunset comes, we're walking back to the truck to try to cut these deer off before it gets too dark. And we have about 5 minutes till legal shooting light's over. And then Owen looks at his phone. He's like, "Oh, they're at where we just came from. I just got a trail cam picture. There's a nice buck probably about 100 yards from where we just came from. So we're maybe like a quarter mile or so away from there. So we pretty much jog all the way back to where we just came from. And by that point, there's like a minute left of legal shooting light. It's dark. I can barely see through my crosshairs. And deer was about 80 yards away. And evidently I missed. Took a shot at it again, missed again. And that deer got away. So not my proudest moment. I think I bumped the scope or something. I don't think it was truly sighted in, but it was also dark. So who knows? I could have been shaken too. Buck fever. It would have been the nicest buck that I've ever, or one of the only bucks I've ever shot. So probably some nerves. Just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, the learning curve is so drastic when you're a new hunter, and every single time you go out, it's like you're learning things, and having somebody who's more experienced than you with you, they can help call attention to like those learning moments, you know? So like from that hunt, what would you say you learned that you've carried with you since then?
Be patient. Don't go back to the truck, I guess, when nothing's happening. Yeah, I don't know. Just try to relax when you're behind the scope, breathe, take a deep breath. Yeah.
Make sure your gun's sighted in.
That's a good one too. Make sure the gun's sighted in. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So then you decided at what point, well, that was cool and all, but I want to get into bow hunting.
Yeah, I've, pretty much ever since I moved here, I wanted to get into bow hunting just because deer season here in Oklahoma or gun season, in Oklahoma and in Illinois, it always falls around like Thanksgiving time. And it's always kind of like a weekend or 2 weekends, which you get, 4 days out of the year to hunt. So, plus if it's during Thanksgiving weekend, I'm usually back in Illinois anyway. So I really only got, 2 or 3 days a year to hunt. And that's kind of why I wanted to pick up bow hunting, is because you get, 3-4 months to hunt. Or maybe it's 2, I don't know. October 1st to December 31st?
Usually January something. It depends on the state, but yeah.
Yep. So tons more time to hunt, more time to hopefully get a deer and fill the freezer. And that was the main reason why I wanted to get into it as well. Plus it's a new challenge and yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so you got yourself a bow.
Yep. One of my good buddies, Colson, back from back home, he also got into bow hunting recently, and he was upgrading his bow and asked if I wanted to buy it, and gave me a hell of a deal on a really nice bow that was fully kitted out, and got it back in February of this year. So,
and what's it been like learning to shoot a bow?
Yeah, it was a little tricky at first, and we always compared it to like your golf swing, because I like to golf as well. So there's so many like minuscule adjustments that you can make that'll affect the outcome of your shot. So just kind of really getting a feel for what happens when you do this or what happens when you do that. It's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I've shot a ton since getting my bow, and I like to think I'm fairly decent shot now.
Yeah, you've improved tremendously.
Yeah.
Like since you started shooting earlier this year to now. I think it was a couple weeks ago, you're at my house, we were shooting, and I was like, okay, TG's putting them in there at 60 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I like shooting those long distances. It's a lot more fun than just shooting a target at 20 yards. But
yeah. Yeah, if you practice at longer distances and you get to a place where you can do that, it definitely makes those closer shots feel a little easier. But as you found out last weekend, not all the closer shots are easy. Sometimes things happen, but we'll get to that in a minute. So it was like 90-something degrees last weekend here in Oklahoma, and you were like, yeah, I think I'm going to go hunt this piece of public. And I was like, man, that's bold of you. Like, you're going to drive, what was it, like an hour and
45 minutes
45 minutes to a piece of land that you hadn't had a chance to really scout yet. You've been doing some e-scouting, looking at maps, figuring out where you want to set up, but you were going to go pitch a tent, camp out for the weekend, unplug a little bit, and go on your first real public land bow hunting excursion. So what was it like? Were you nervous about that? Because you played it off pretty well to the point where I was like, guys, we need to probably look out for TG. I mean, he's brand new to this bow hunting thing. Dude's just pitching a tent out in the middle of nowhere where he doesn't know what's going on. Like, and I even told you, I think I was like, we have cell phone service so we can check on you. You're like, I don't know, man. And then I get my first text to you or from you, and it says like, Tyler is communicating via satellite or whatever it said. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So, but what did you feel and what motivated you to go try to hunt that piece of public land? And what was that like as a brand new hunter with really just, you've got a firm understanding of like what to do, but don't have the experience of what to do. What were you wrestling with?
Yeah, no, so I really, even though it was 90 degrees, I really wanted to go out for opening weekend, which is this past weekend. So I was kind of dead set on going wherever I could. I like the idea of hunting public land and kind of figuring things out by myself. Not to say that I didn't have help from all you guys along the way, and but some of the, I've always been the type of person to like kind of dive head first and figure it out as I go and really kind of learn by trial and error. So I went up to Hula, WMA, up past Pawhuska, and it's about 16,000 acres up there. So tons of spots. And yeah, I was e-scouting it a little bit, and I think it kind of goes back to how I got kind of my start in the outdoors, camping and fishing up in Minnesota. I really enjoy those weekends where you're not always on your phone. You might not have any cell service. You're just out there in nature, starting a fire, cooking hot dogs over the fire, s'mores, and hunting and fishing. So that's what kind of sparked it to go up there. Yeah, I forget what the rest of your question was.
Yeah, just what was, or what were some of the things you were wrestling with? Just, were you nervous at all? Because if you were, like, you played it off really well, like you knew exactly what you were doing and you had a plan and you weren't really concerned about it. But, like, I mean, a lot of people, when they first get into hunting, they're scared to even walk in the dark by themselves. And you went up to a totally brand new piece of property, knew nothing about it other than what you'd seen from an aerial view. And you, in my opinion, did it with confidence. I was like, Tyler really is like playing a good game right now, or he's not concerned about this. Like, he's just going to go do the thing.
Yeah, I wasn't like super nervous. The thing I was most nervous about was that none of those campsites would be available. So up in that specific piece of public land, you have to camp at a designated camping area. So they have about 12 of them. And I was more nervous that all of them were going to be taken. I thought, opening weekend of bow season, that tons of people were going to be out, but it was actually the exact opposite. I didn't really run into a single person until that Sunday of my last hunt. So I was more nervous about that. Wasn't super nervous about, being stranded or anything because I had my car there, and, it was like a 30-minute drive to Pawhuska. So if I forgot something or needed emergency food or something like that, it wasn't too far to where it felt unsafe or anything like that. Didn't have cell service like you mentioned, but it allowed me to discover kind of a cool feature on the iPhone, that communicating via satellite. If you have a new iPhone, you can pretty much just point your phone at the sky and you can communicate via a satellite in space, I guess. I don't know, but
nobody knows how it works.
Yeah, but it was cool. I was able to text keep you updated. I know my girlfriend was probably a little bit worried about me as well, not having instant line of communication all the time. So,
what did she think of the whole hunting thing?
She likes it. She's glad I have a hobby, but she doesn't want it to take too much time away.
Typical.
So, yeah, and I took her along to Schultz to grab some equipment as well, and she's like, dang, this stuff's expensive. And I was like, yeah, but hopefully it's, kind of one-time purchase, and it was like a rangefinder. And I told her about the tree stand that I bought, which there's definitely cheaper alternatives. I just wanted some quality stuff, and
Yeah.
it should last many, many years. So.
Well, I learned that early on, especially when you're hunting public. Investing in quality gear, it increases your odds of success. You're already working hard enough just to get to the property, get into the property, get away from people, and then you don't want a piece of your gear to creak or pop or snap or do something when the moment of truth comes into play. And so having some quality gear, a lot of that more quality gear is lighter. So you're hiking in with everything on your back, or you're carrying everything. And so weight matters. I think that stuff for new hunters, even though everything seems so expensive when you're first getting into hunting, and it is expensive, and it's gotten, just like everything in our society, it's just gotten crazy. I mean, I haven't really shopped for tree stands in a long time. I've had a brand that I just like and I stick with, but I was looking at some of the other premier brands that have popped up in recent years. I mean, dude, like $500 and $600 for a hang-on tree stand, you know? And I'm like, holy cow. If you wanted to put 20 of these on, you know, your farm, it'd be like a small fortune.
Yeah. Yeah, and the brand that I ended up going with was Novix, and I talked to a couple of people, read a bunch of like online forums, and one, it was lightweight, which was great. Two, it was like very easy to set up, which was great for me, having never used climbing sticks or hanging a hang-on stand. So, yeah, when I went out there to that public to hang it up, it was super easy. Maybe not super easy in the 90-degree heat. I was sweating my ass off. But, it was really easy for me, and like I said, lightweight and quality stuff that should last many, many years. So.
Yeah, I haven't deer hunted public land in quite some time, but you know, I sweat really easily. Anybody who knows me knows this. But if it was like in the 40s, you know, and I was walking like a mile, maybe not quite a mile, to some of the spots I was hunting, and lots of topography changes, I would be freezing when I started the walk, because I would start in shorts and a t-shirt, knowing that I was going to be sweating my butt off by the time I got even a quarter of the way into the hike. Yeah. And then you get to your tree, and by the time I was done hanging everything up, I'd be drenched in sweat. So I'd literally bring like a set of sweat clothes, like that I would plan on just sweating through. And then I'd have to stand at the base of the tree, like in the dark, steam rolling off my body, and just like cool off before getting into the stand, you know? Yeah. So it's these guys and gals that like wear all of their layers and march out, and they get to the stand, and it's just like everything's perfectly normal and their body temperature is fine. I'm just like, I'm so envious of you right now.
Yeah.
Like I have sweat rolling down my face. But yeah, man, doing that in the 90-something degree heat is rough. There's just no way around it, and there's still mosquitoes and everything else. But so you found a spot, and you kind of set your stand up there. The wind was going to kind of stay in the same direction, and so tell us about what it was like finally getting into the tree, waiting to see deer, eventually seeing deer. Like, just run us through your hunts for the weekend.
Yeah, so got up there Friday around 5 o'clock, and hiked in, hung the stand. I wasn't wearing really any hunting clothes. I didn't want to sweat through them like you were just mentioning. So, and not seeing a ton of people, I was able to leave the stand there all weekend, which helped a ton. I didn't have to take it down and put it back up every single hunt. But hung the stand on Friday, and that was some more learning, because I've never hung the stand and sat there with my bow and my backpack, so I had to hang on the little hangers for all your gear and stuff like that. It took me a while to figure out what was comfortable, and but eventually did that, and then hiked out to my campsite, set up camp, which was super easy. Didn't really have a fire or anything, so it's pretty much my tent, my cooler, and my lawn chair was pretty much my camp setup. So Saturday morning comes around, I didn't get more than an hour of sleep. I don't know if I was excited. I also forgot to bring like a sleeping pad, so I was sleeping on the ground, which I did a lot when I was younger. But now that I'm almost 28, like it starts taking a toll on your body when you're just sleeping on the hard ground. So I didn't really sleep for an hour. I get ready to go on Saturday morning, get all my stuff, grab my bow, grab the arrows and the quiver, and start hiking out. Got about halfway there, realized that I forgot to put the stabilizers on my bow. So I had to turn back around, grab all that stuff. Sit Saturday morning, didn't really see much. And I was prepared to sit all day. Like I was dedicated to getting at least a doe, and I've been texting you like, yeah, I'm going to sit all day till sunrise to sunset. And you're like, hey man, it's so hot that I don't think you need to sit all day.
Yeah.
Which really helped, because, you know, I sat till about 9:30 or 10, and I couldn't imagine sitting all day. One, I started to get a little hungry and restless. My legs were starting to cramp up on me, and so yeah, I climbed back down at about 9 or 10. Didn't really see much, and then that afternoon went back up around 4:30, and was able to see the first set of does. They were kind of prancing through that tall grass that I was set up on. Didn't really give me a shot. This was like probably like 7:15, so not a ton of time left. Didn't really give me a shot, and then I see some does behind me. They were kind of on a game trail by a pond, heading to their bedding area, I assume. And the way I was set up, I couldn't really shoot behind me to my right, so I had to wait until they were to my left, which they set up perfectly. A perfect broadside shot, probably about 30 yards away. This is the first time I've ever drawn back on a deer, so I had to make sure I did that quietly, and it kind of just all went perfectly. And I drew back. They didn't see me, and I was like, "Holy crap! How'd they not not hear me or see me?" I didn't know how I got that far, and then just kind of took a deep breath, make sure I wasn't death gripping my bow, and just kind of slowly squeezed the release, and I just hear like a thunk. There was a branch that was maybe like 1.5 inches wide that my arrow just stuck right in the middle of it. And I'm convinced if it didn't hit that branch, it would have been a dead deer, but I guess we'll never know. And it was, you just kind of let off a sigh and kind of get down in the dumps for a little bit. But I still had, 10, 15 minutes of legal shooting light left, so I knocked another arrow and just kind of waited and prayed that another one would give me another shot, but they didn't. So that was my one encounter with a broadside deer this weekend on opening weekend. So
yeah, bow hunting's a game of inches, man, and it's like the things that you don't necessarily think about as a new hunter. You're like, oh man, she looks good, but maybe it didn't register to you like, well, could that limb be a problem? And should I wait? Do I have time to wait?
Yep.
Do I aim slightly differently at the deer to make sure that I don't hit that limb? And I mean, you learn a lot with every experience as a new hunter. You're just constantly learning and gaining intel as you go. And I think that's what makes bow hunting so addicting is it's hard enough just getting in the right place to get yourself opportunities, but then having to make and execute that shot as opposed to just like a gun, which is not guaranteed, but significantly easier than perfectly placing an arrow.
Yeah.
It's just, especially as a former athlete, I think archery is kind of addicting in that way of just like constantly increasing your skills and getting dialed in. So, yeah, man, are you going to go back out there again?
Yeah, I probably will just go check it out. The place that I was hunting had like some really tall native grass, so I'm hoping eventually they'll bale that. I saw a couple other fields around that had baled hay, so I'm hoping they bale that area. I also probably will try to check out a couple different spots. After that Sunday morning, I saw Saturday I shot the deer and missed. Sunday morning I went out and hunted again. Didn't really see much. So that's when I packed up the stand and packed up camp and was just kind of driving around the area and just kind of looking, scouting for another trip. I saw some Milo fields. But yeah, I'll go back out there. And now that I know kind of the lay of the area, I should have a couple different spots that I want to try. So
yeah. So where does bow hunting fall according to or in accordance with golf for you right now? Like the process of learning to shoot a bow this year and going on your first bow hunt and getting to shoot at a deer, like how's it stack up against golfing?
Yeah, well, last year I golfed a ton. I don't know if it was just because we had the membership out there at the Sepulpa golf course, but I would go pretty much every day after work and then play at least 9 holes. But ever since I got the bow, I've just been doing that a lot after work. So haven't played a ton of golf this year. Still love it. I would say bow hunting is probably a little bit above it right now.
Yeah.
So
Cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm terrible at golf, and I enjoy a little bit of golf in doses, but I always think when I'm out there, like, and these guys are just making these perfect shots, I'm like, let's go to a 3D shoot, buddy, and then see how you do. Let's put a bow in your hands and let's get you off this course and into my element. That's the competitor in me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you were talking about Julia. So that was really confusing. Your girlfriend's name is Julia. My wife's name is Julia. So I nicknamed her JB, probably against her will. But it's just too weird for me. So I was just going to tell you earlier, I was thinking about this when my Julia and I first started dating. I was like, hey, I have this thing in my life that I'm really passionate about, which is hunting in the outdoors. And you are amazing. And I really see myself having a future with you. But like, just so you know, this will always be a part of my life, and it's not going to be easy on you at times. And call it selfish if you'd like, but like if I don't get to do this thing, like I won't be the same person that I am right now, And so I feel like this is the first year with having Livy and having a child where that's probably been tested a little bit. And so where I'm going with this is make sure you tell your Julia, like, hey, this is always going to be a thing. So if you don't like it, then I'm not really sure what's going to happen here.
We've talked about it a little bit already. She asked, like, is fall always just going to be hunting and football? And I was like, yeah, like those are two.
Like, am I American or am I not?
I was like, I really enjoy watching football, and I'm starting to, really enjoy hunting. And I always try to like justify it too. Like I try to find ways to like soften the blow. I'm like, we're gonna have a freezer full of meat, and it's a lot cheaper than like buying ground beef all the time, and which
is actually a myth, I think.
Yeah, I mean between gear and like I don't process my own deer, so you got to pay for processing and. It's probably not much cheaper than ground beef.
But it's more fulfilling than walking into the grocery store and just grabbing it.
Yeah, 100%. So I always try to justify it a little bit. And I know she eventually wants to go out with me. I just told her, like she kind of wanted to go camping with me this weekend. And I was just kind of dead set on going up there alone. And I was texting her. I was like, I don't think you'd enjoy this very much. When no cell service, like she wants to go sit in the stand with me as well, which I don't have a double stand. Maybe we'll hunt out of a ground blind one day, but the hike in to that place sucked. Like it was brutal, and the grass probably would have been damn near just as tall as her. So I was like, I don't think you would have enjoyed this very much. Like we'll hunt together, but let's make it like an easier hunt. That way your first impression of hunting is not like the worst time you've ever had.
Right.
So,
which is so important when you're getting someone new into hunting. You want them to have a positive experience, and you can't just like put them through it to where they're never going to want to try that again. And then especially like in this case where she like it sucks so much in her mind that she like looks down on you for doing that. Not looks down on you, but it's like, why do you even do that anyway? You know, that type of mentality. I mean, a lot of people deal with that. So I've had to pull the card a few times this year with my Julia, where I'm like, hey, baby, remember what I told you when we first started dating? Like, it wasn't going to be easy, and like this was going to be something I do. But I do struggle with guilt of like letting my family down, letting my work people down. I feel like anybody who's driven can relate to this, and I know several of our agents can. Like, when you're out in the stand or you're out doing something that's ultimately for yourself, and you're maybe less available for people than normal, like I wrestle with that. And so when I'm in the stand, it's very seldom that I actually truly unplug, and I'm trying to get back to that when it makes sense, because like that time in the outdoors that you had with no cell service and just you and your thoughts and connecting with nature, like that is so needed.
Yep.
Especially like you and I talk a lot about men specifically, or at least maybe it's just the way you and I are wired. You need that time to yourself.
100%. Yeah, and you know, when I used to hunt in Illinois and stuff, like we still had cell service up in the stand. So, you know, on those slow mornings or when you're waiting for that prime time, you know, shooting light, you could just sit there and scroll Facebook. And that's one thing that I really liked about going out to that public, was there was no cell service. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't even be on my phone. So it was nice just to sit and, you know, watch the sunrise. And the pond behind me had a ton of wood ducks on it, so just hearing them wake up and you know, just listening to the woods wake up around you was really neat, not having that distraction. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you think that as a new hunter, is it the hunt itself or like that time to unplug? Because I think by nature, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but by nature you're more of a introverted guy that likes to have his alone time. I mean, you love spending time with other people too, but like you like to have your TG time, I guess. So like what was more fruitful for you, like getting that time or getting the true experience of the hunt per se?
I think it's a balance of both. Of course, you know, I loved hunting and hanging the stand and really having my first bow hunt by myself was awesome. And even getting the chance to shoot at a deer was amazing. And but yeah, like you said, I definitely do enjoy my alone time and just being out there by myself, not having people text or distractions or you know, random news that I don't really care about pop up on my phone and scrolling into a doom scroll. Like, it was nice just to, it's like a reset is the best way to put it. So
Yeah.
you know, I think it's easy if you don't get those, you know, weeks stack up and, you know, months fly by and you're just like, what the hell did I do this past 3 months? But I think going out and really getting a true reset can really ground you and remind you of what's really important.
Yeah. So what would you tell folks who are thinking about getting into bow hunting? Like, because that was you not that long ago.
Yeah.
And so you're wrestling with that idea. Maybe not wrestling with it, but like you're wanting to do it, don't know where to start, what to do. For somebody who's like, I want to try bow hunting, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say go for it. It can be expensive. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. You know, I don't know a ton about all the different brands and stuff like that, but I know that there's plenty of affordable options out there. And I think when you get into a space like hunting, you know, where there's a lot of like alpha male, like you might get kind of intimidated, like, oh, no one's going to help me. But, you know, if you surround yourself with the right people, they're more than willing to help you and teach you how to shoot a bow or teach you how to e-scout or where to set up. You know, I'm really grateful for you. I'd always bounce ideas off your head like, hey, should I set up here? Or you helped me really get my grip down and a bunch of different techniques when shooting the bow. So, Yeah, I would say go for it. It's super fun, something that you can always improve on. And, it's probably really satisfying when you shoot a deer. I wouldn't know yet, but hopefully here in the next coming weeks, I'll get to experience that.
It is really satisfying when you hear that arrow whack that deer and you know you made a good shot, and like you see it kick and run a little ways and tip over. And I mean, just, I don't know. I have so much gratitude every time when I walk up on that animal. If I'm being honest, like way more gratitude. It's way more fulfilling than shooting something with a gun, at least for me. And maybe not everybody's like that, but there's something intimate about bow hunting, like getting into close quarters with that animal and like knowing that your skills or lack thereof are the difference maker in a successful hunt. And when I walk up on that animal, like I just thank the Lord for so much, the experience, the food that it's going to provide for my family. Like we eat pretty much. I mean, I love a great steak. Covey Rise, by the way, quick shout out to them out of Hoxie, Kansas. They're my favorite place to get beef. But I love going to the store and getting a nice steak. But really, we eat 95% of our meat is wild game, whether it's deer or elk. And there's just, I don't know, God is so good. And when you walk up on that animal, it's a serious thing, at least to me, knowing that you just took the life of another animal, but knowing the good it's going to do for your family and your body. And you just try to use that animal to glorify God the best way you can. Like I just took 2 tubes of elk meat and a tube of venison to a gal at the chiropractor that I go to. And you would have thought I just hung the moon for her. Like, she was so fired up, and that just made me so happy that's one of the best things about hunting, in my opinion, is sharing the experience of the hunt with others, getting to enjoy that with others, but then also getting to share your harvest with others is super fulfilling for me. And because not everybody has the means to hunt or the ability or the time to go hunting. And so like sharing meat with people is fun too. Like Julia has her vegetable garden and she shares vegetables. I like sharing deer meat and elk meat and stuff like that. So
yeah, I agree. I'm definitely on a time crunch too, because my dad's super excited for me that I got into archery, and they're coming to visit on October 31st to like November 2nd from Illinois. So I told him, I was like, hopefully I'll have a deer down and I can share some meat with you while you're visiting. So I got a couple weeks to make that happen, and hopefully we do.
Yeah, no, you definitely will, man. I've seen you shooting. You've been putting in the work, and you learned a lot on this last hunt. Try to miss the tree branch next time.
It was so small. We'll have to insert the picture, but like it was so small. And I was telling you, like I had a lighted knock on, so it was just sitting there mocking me. Like you could just see the lighted knock from a mile away, and it's just sitting there in the branch. It's like, oh. All I could think about. I was able to recover the arrow, but the broadhead's toast, and yeah, it was just a tough learning lesson. But I guess you need those sometimes.
Yeah, and especially like I look back at when I got into hunting and like YouTube. I think it was around. Pretty sure it was around. But it wasn't like as big of a thing as it is now, and there's so much information out there at your fingertips if you are wanting to get into hunting. All the shows and stuff. I mean, that's how you used to learn, is watching the shows, and then whoever was mentoring you, whether it was a dad, a grandpa, a neighbor, whatever, and then you start just learning things as you go, and you never really stop learning. I'm still learning, still trying to figure these animals out, still trying to figure out how to perfect that craft, and I don't think anybody ever can. But there's lots of resources out there for people wanting to get into it.
Yeah.
And so just start doing your homework. And then if you can find somebody to take you who's more experienced than you, I think that shortens the learning curve. That person can call attention to good things, bad things, whatever it may be, and really just equip you to be better for the next hunt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you just said go with somebody. Like I would have loved to go with somebody, but I also I like the challenge of going out. Like I didn't want to just like climb into somebody else's stand and shoot some deer that they've been pouring corn for. You know, I wanted a little bit of a challenge, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could go out there and do it. So even though I didn't harvest a deer, I thought it was a great weekend and a great learning experience.
Well, you've always been a self-starter, and that's one of the things I appreciate the most about working with you. And so I shouldn't have been surprised when you were like, yeah, I'll tackle this bow hunting thing by myself and teach myself as I go. And some people are like that, and then other people are like, I don't really want to do this alone. I need someone to coach me, teach me. Like my Julia, she just went kind of, I would say, on her first solo bow hunt ever earlier this week. She didn't see any deer, but she was just like, oh, I really want you there. Like, it's just going to be different. And like, she was anxious about it. Mm-hmm. She's wired a little differently in that way.
Yeah.
Like, she's used to coming with me, and her soon to be sister-in-law, Alex, she came up and they hunted together, and they didn't even see a deer, but they had a great time. And so like, maybe not the independent style, but I also know that she values that time in the woods as well, where she's just alone in her own thoughts and gets to experience nature and the Lord. And yeah, so I guess what I'm getting at is it takes all kinds, and everybody has their own way of doing things, but just go do it, right?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even think about it at the time, but if I would have actually harvested a deer out there, I probably would have liked somebody out there with me. Like
Yeah.
I know how to field dress a deer and everything, but like dragging it a mile back to camp, loading it in my Nissan Maxima, like, and then driving to, the closest processor was about 45 minutes away. And like you said, it was like 90 degrees. So probably would have had to stop and put it on or get ice in the cavity. And yeah, that would have been a whole nother challenge is getting the deer out of there.
Yeah, the hunt is the easier part. The real work begins after you've harvested that animal.
Yeah.
And out in something like that, it's not like you just drive the tractor up to it and throw it in the bucket and head on out of there.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it while I was in the stand. I was like, damn, that would have been a time crunch because, I got to get the deer out of there. I got to take down my stand. I got to pack up my camp and, 45 minutes to the closest processor, like I said. So, it might be 2.5 hours before I'm able to get that thing in the fridge or get it on ice. So maybe I'm lucky I didn't connect on that deer. I don't know, but yeah.
Have you started paying any attention? I'm totally switching gears here, but I feel like we got to talk about it. You're a huge sports guy. Mm-hmm. Are there any professional athletes that you follow or watch closely that are hunters that you've tuned into?
Yeah, there's a couple golfers actually that I follow. I know Sam Burns. He was just on the Ryder Cup team. Huge hunter. I think he lives down in Texas maybe. But he was able to, I forgot who he put on for a deer, but it was another golfer maybe. And then there's a couple guys on the Chiefs that hunt. But yeah, Jay Cutler, I know he's an old Bears quarterback. He hunts a bunch, and I don't know. I think it's really cool, and maybe it's being like an ex-athlete that they like that challenge, and I think hunting and athletics is kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. So
yeah,
yeah.
Do you have any aspirations of land ownership?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple things that I'd like to accomplish before then, but yeah, it's definitely in the cards. I would love to live out, not too far, but maybe like 45 minutes or an hour away from town. It actually reminded me this morning. I stayed at Julia's last night, and she lives in Broken Arrow, and on the way into work this morning, I was stuck in Broken Arrow, like rush hour traffic. And I had a thought to myself. I was like, I will never live in town again. I know Sapulpa is still kind of a town. It's not out in the country, but I'll never live in like a huge Tulsa or Broken Arrow. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. And, everybody's got their thing, and a lot of people value that. But, like, even where you guys live right now, or where you live right now, you've got timber behind your house. You see deer. You're kind of, like, at the end of a dead-end road for the most part. Even that is more valuable than, like, being stuck in the middle of the neighborhood, smelling what the neighbors are cooking, hearing the kids screaming. I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to sound insensitive, I guess, but I just prefer country living. And I think once you're exposed to any aspect of that, it's hard not to fall in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not looking to get, like, way out in the sticks off grid, but I think, finding a happy medium of peace and also kind of, I mean, it's probably what everybody's looking for. But peace, and then maybe like a half hour to 45-minute drive into town if you need to go into town. I think that would be perfect. Yeah.
So what's the rest of deer season look like for you? What are you planning next?
I don't really know when I'll hunt again. Probably I want to hunt on Sunday. I know, like you talked about, we have some timber behind our house. Matt said I can go shoot. He said there's a couple bucks out there and maybe tons of does. So I'll probably hunt out there. It's a lot easier and a lot more feasible just to take, a 500-yard walk into the backyard to to harvest something. I do want to go back up to that public stuff again, and then I have a couple agents that work for us that have told me that I can hunt on their place. So just kind of get out whenever I can. Try to find that balancing act of spending time with my girlfriend and also spending some time out in the woods. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'll try to. I want to harvest at least one deer this season. So
yeah. You figure out the balance. Like, yeah, I should probably take her to the pumpkin patch this day so that I can hunt this day.
Yeah.
And okay, I've been hunting a lot, so I should probably get her some flowers, and maybe we should plan dinner this night.
Yeah.
So, or the flip side of that, maybe she does get into hunting and it becomes something y'all really enjoy doing together, and then your dates are spent in the woods, and you get to enjoy that time together in a way that's different from how y'all used to spend your time.
Yeah, I'll probably take her out during gun season for her first time, and I feel like that's a lot more. 'Cause then she could actually, well, I don't know, she's got to pass the hunter safety course and all that stuff too. Like there's a whole bunch of things, but she could still come and watch, I guess, during gun season. That way we can hunt out of a ground blind, and also want to take her on like a duck hunt because I feel like that's a lot more laid back. You don't have to worry about your scent or talking too loud. Or I feel like duck hunting is great for like a new hunter.
Yeah,
so.
I agree 100%. I think really way better than taking someone on a deer hunt. I mean, unless that person is spiritual or going through something, or like just wants time alone in their own headspace. Deer hunting's great for that. Duck hunting's not great for that if you go with people. Yeah. If you went on by yourself on a duck hunt, I suppose it'd be the same thing. But usually when you're duck hunting, you're with a few buddies or something, and it's a little bit more chaotic than deer hunting. But it's great for a new hunter because they get to interact. They don't have to take a scent-free shower. Like you said, your wind doesn't matter. I mean, none of that stuff. You just go and you have a good time, and you can crunch on snacks or drink your coffee and clang your cup around, and it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
So,
yep. So, I will say that I got into turkey hunting this past year as well, and that's kind of quickly becoming one of my favorites. Is was able to harvest a turkey out in Major County, so out west, and yeah, that was super fun. I don't know, I can't pick a favorite. I like them all in their own seasons. So,
well, if you had to, what's the only if you could only hunt one animal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I don't know, probably deer, just because I haven't really harvested like a stud buck yet, and I'm sure that feeling's amazing. So yeah, probably deer.
Yeah.
And I just love the fall as well. Like football, cold weather, soup season.
We're still waiting on cold weather.
Yep. We got a little taste of it these last couple days. But yeah, I just love the fall, and my birthday lands in the fall too. So fall is definitely the best time for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want you to think back to like 10-year-old TG, little TG. Did you ever see yourself living this lifestyle that you have right now of being tied to the land and getting out and hunting and doing all the things you're doing?
Not really, no. When I went to college for journalism, and I always kind of wanted to be like a sports writer, and usually sports teams are in big cities, but I don't know, just kind of the political climate and everything that's been happening over the past, I would say 10 years has really just kind of pushed me to want to not live in a big city and just kind of get off grid, I guess, per se, or just away from all that stuff. So no, little TG would have never imagined even living in Oklahoma, like growing up in Illinois, you're like, what's even out there in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
I would have never imagined living out here, but super grateful that I was able to move out here and blessed with this job and blessed with, all you guys around me that are getting me into new things in the outdoors, and it's been great.
We're blessed to have you, man. I'm so thankful to have you in my life. And, even though we're from the same hometown and went to the same school and there's a little bit of an age difference between us, but like, I didn't really know you, and when we were living in Hayworth. And so when you reached out on Instagram and showcased your skills and what you were all about and brought you here, man, the rest has been history. I'm so blessed and so thankful to have you here and to have you in my life, not just as a coworker, but as a friend. And I think the future is really bright for you, man, both career-wise, but also with what you're getting yourself into in the outdoors. Like, it's going to change your life in ways that you didn't realize it could. At least that's my hope for you. Hunting's taught me so much, and I look forward to watching you grow as you continue to hunt, and I look forward to being a part of it. Like, if you go and shoot a deer on Sunday, like, you better believe I'm going to be there to help you and celebrate with you, and that's really what it's all about. That's something that I love so much about it. So
yeah, definitely. And it was like you mentioned, how we kind of cross paths. I DM'd you on Instagram, and I think God puts people in your life when you need it. I remember when I first graduated college, or maybe I was like a junior or senior getting ready to graduate, you were working at a different brokerage, and I think I either talked to you or Kyle about getting a job after college, and I was still super green, didn't really have a portfolio put together, and I think I remember you saying like, oh, maybe it's not right now, but I'll keep your contact. And then I saw what you guys were doing out here, mainly from Matt. Me and Matt were closer in high school. We played football together. And yeah, I reached out to you on Instagram, and
you slid into my DMs.
And it just happened to be the perfect time for you guys, and also the perfect time for me. I was just back home after college living with my parents, so I was ready to go. And like I said, God puts people in your life when you need it, when the time's right. And they say God's timing's never wrong. So, moved out here, and the rest is history.
Amen to that. Just for the record, though, if I remember it correctly, when I was at the other place, you reached out. I passed your information along, highly recommended you. I mean, knew you were of good bloodline coming from Hayworth, of course.
It could have been, yeah.
And that decision, unfortunately, was not mine to make at the time.
Yeah,
so
it could have been like that. I don't really remember, but
yeah. Well, either way, bro, everything happens for a reason. Like you said, God's timing is always perfect. Even when it comes to sticking an arrow in a tree branch, his timing's still perfect, and his plan is greater than ours. So, dude, I'm happy to have you on this side of the camera today, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. Hopefully somebody who's thinking about getting into hunting has a chance to tune in and realizes that, hey, if this guy can do it, I can do it too,
Yeah, No, it was fun. It was great talking to you.
All right. Well, this is Tyler Griffith, a.k.a. TG, a.k.a. The Kid. And my name's Andrew Schultz. This is the Tied to the Land podcast, and we appreciate you guys tuning in today. Thanks so much.
See you later.